In demigods we trust. Let's spoil the out of this movie. Hey guys, what's up? Zach here with another Geek Speak. This is a spoiler video. So if you don't want to see spoilers, click away, go somewhere else, because I'm going to be spoiling the shiznit out of this movie. I'll give you a second. Are they gone yet? Are they gone? Are they gone? This movie is amazing! Okay, so Monday night I went with my girlfriend to see Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters. And I loved it. In the sequel to Lightning Thief, Camp Half-Blood's protective barrier gets smashed and totally destroyed by this really kick-ass mechanical bull that Luke sends in to destroy everything. And Percy and his friends have to go and find this item known as Golden Fleece, which is in the Bermuda Triangle, or as they call it, the Sea of Monsters, to fix it. I'm going to tell you some pros, I'm going to tell you some cons, and I'm going to tell you some stuff that's but mostly I'm just going to geek out about the film. First, some pros. Characters. The characters in Percy Jackson are phenomenal. First of all, of course, you've got the trio, Percy, Annabeth, and Grover, and they are just fantastic on screen. It's great acting, it's great chemistry, it's wonderful. Then further along in the movie, you've got a new character, Tyson, who actually turns out to be Percy's half-brother, and he's not exactly what you would expect from the son of Poseidon, because he's a Cyclops. Which, of course, causes complications with Annabeth, because in the flashback scene that happens at the very beginning of the movie, where her, Grover, this girl Talia, who is Zeus's daughter, and someone else, I missed their name, but there are 4 kids running to Camp Half-Blood being chased by Cyclopses, and Talia actually dies from the Cyclops, so that's not good. That's why Annabeth is kind of weary of Tyson, because he is a Cyclops, and she was there when Talia got killed by the Cyclopses. Tyson is what I would call the comic relief character. He's a little bit of a doofus, but you gotta love him for it, because he's just amazed by everything that has to do with Greek gods, and his father, Poseidon. Then you've got a new character, Clarice, who is, if you remember in the first movie how Annabeth was kind of like the resident badass on campus, well, Clarice is that times 10. She's a lot more full of herself, and I think that makes for a really good character dynamic, just because they think, oh, I'm so awesome, and then when they have to go do something, they completely screw it up, and Percy and his friends come in and save the day. Yeah. In the opening scene of the movie, actually, there's a really awesome, like, event thing going on. It's just like this big structure, and the competitors have to climb to the top and I think get like this ruby. So amazing! Then when the bull comes in to basically plow through everything, and Percy is of course the one to defeat it, and he does it by taking his little pen sword thing, clicks it, throws it at the mechanical bull, as the mechanical bull's kind of like opening its mouth to launch a flamethrower or laser or something at Percy, and then it's the sword. The pen is becoming the sword while it's in the bull, and then the point comes out, strikes the bull right in the middle, and then just explosion, big old explosion. I love it. Then right after the bull explodes, Luke shows up. It's kind of like, hey Percy, why'd you have to do that? You know, I'm still alive, so obviously you're not the only half-blood who's hard to kill. Actually, I think the line he says is, turns out you're not the only half-blood who's hard to kill. And then he kind of alludes to something else that happens later on. He's just a dick. He's the villain that everyone loves to hate, because He's a jerk. Plain and simple. Then further along in the movie, we have Hermes, who's played by none other than Nathan Fillion, also known as Castle, also known as Malcolm Reynolds. And it could not be a better fit. Nathan Fillion is a great Hermes. If you've seen him in Castle, if you've seen him in Firefly, he's got that kind of that same joking mentality to him, and it's awesome. Just the line he gives when Annabeth goes to open the thermos with the 4 winds in it, he gives it to her, and she goes to open it, and he says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Not in here. Not in here." I saw that as a complete Castle moment. I loved it. Now, I will say I'm not a big fan of the actor change in movies from the first to the next. Here's what happened in the first movie, if you don't remember. Percy and Annabeth got to Mount Olympus, gave Zeus the bolt, and he said, "You were wise to betray your father, lightning thief." And Percy says, "I didn't steal it." Zeus says, "Well, who did?" Percy says, "Luke, son of Hermes." And then the guy who plays Hermes kind of sits up like, what? It was disappointing, but I'm glad that they actually had someone come in and do a speaking role for Hermes, because he's just an amazing character, and Nathan Fillion is an amazing actor. It just makes sense. And then, of course, you have the dick who got exiled from Camp Half-Blood because he tried to destroy Mount Olympus and all the gods with it. He's a jerk! I really like Luke. I'm not gonna lie. Luke is a character that everyone loves to hate because he's such a jerk and a dick. And in this movie, he gained more followers to help him resurrect Cronus with the power of the Golden Fleece. So he's even more of a dick and a jerk. Near the end of the film, when Luke resurrects Cronus with the power of the Fleece and brings him back, Percy is, of course, the one to put Cronus back, and he does it with a glowing sword. Yes, you heard right. Percy's pen sword, it glows. And then he's there slashing at Cronus, and Cronus is kind of like wherever Percy hits, it turns blue and sparkling and flies back into the... kind of looks like the Lost Ark from Indiana Jones. Flies back into that thing, and he's trapped again. So, glowing pen sword for the win. Now some cons. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm going to restate that. But there were a few things that just didn't quite sit right with me. First of all, there's the Cronus character himself. Now, if any of you have watched the Clash of the Titans series on Teletoon, you'll remember Cronus. This guy. He was awesome in the cartoon, and I really wish they had made Cronus, like, have an actor play Cronus instead of doing some CGI garbage. An actor playing him would have been so much more better. Someone who actually looks like the guy from the cartoon. I was going to mention this earlier. Luke and his band of not merry men needed a satyr to find the fleece, and Grover apparently was the prime suspect because he's with Percy and Annabeth. But why? Why did Grover have to get kidnapped? I am not a fan of that at all. Now some stuff that I thought was The barrier source for Camp Half-Blood. There's a barrier in Percy Jackson Lightning Thief because Percy runs through the gate and his mom is stopped, so obviously there's a barrier there. But in this movie, Sea of Monsters, they actually reveal the source, which I did not see in Lightning Thief. And I think if you're going to have something that's very relevant in the second movie, you should have it be very relevant and at least present in the first movie. that's just a little gripe I have. I overanalyze things. I think about things way too much. That's just one of them. Another thing I really thought was kind of like, what? Was the overpowering nature of the fleece. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that it was that way a little bit, but, like, there's a part when Cronus is getting resurrected by the fleece, which is another thing I had an issue with, because, come on, like, you just lay a blanket over the chest, and then one of the most powerful titans in all of history is gonna just come out and kick the shit out of everything? Like, no. Annabeth actually gets injured. Well, actually, she gets injured and a little bit kind of almost dies in the movie, which I thought would have been terrible. Like, don't get me wrong, I am so glad that she got saved. I would have liked more urgency with that. If Annabeth had gotten hurt, and then they had found a way to kind of put off the death toll, I guess we'll call it, until they got back to Camp Half-Blood, and they're like, okay, Annabeth's injured, we gotta get her some help. That'd be cool, and I wouldn't mind that, because there's a little urgency, kind of make things a little more serious, maybe. But instead, Percy just takes the fleece and lays it on her, and then it glows, and she's all better. So it was like, instant. Again, not going to complain that Annabeth did not die. That would be very dark for this film. Just would have wished for a little more urgency. When Percy, Annabeth, Grover, Tyson, and Clarice get back to Camp Half-Blood, they take the fleece and lay it on the tree that's the source of the barrier's power, which, I didn't mention this before, but that's where Talia is. I mean, that the tree is Talia from when she died and Zeus made her protector of Camp Half-Blood. They lay the fleece on her, and the tree instantly gets better, so the barrier is restored. Great, awesome, everyone go home. It's nice. But it doesn't end there. The movie then goes to the next day, where Percy's sitting down, getting something to eat, and Grover runs in, Percy, 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 you gotta come see this! The fleece is more powerful than we thought it was! Come see! They all run to Talia's tree, and she's back to life. I felt like a dolt for not seeing that coming. Like I said, if you can resurrect Kronos, who's been dead for a millennia, and then you lay the fleece on his box, and he comes back, certainly it'll work with basically anything else. So, I felt like kind of an idiot for not seeing that coming, but I'm overanalyzing, I'm just being me. One gripe I did have, though, because I do overthink and I overanalyze, was Talia is wearing the exact same clothes she was wearing in the flashback scene when she was a kid. And she's not a kid. She's the same age as everybody else. So, how do her clothes fit? How did they grow with her? I mean, I know it's Greek mythology. Well, okay. Alright. It's Greek mythology. It's a movie. Let's just leave it at that. So there's my spoiler edition of my Geek Speak for Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters. If you guys like this video, punch the like button, leave comments, tell me if you saw Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters, how much you liked it, what you liked about it. I want to interact with you guys. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Google+, all at ZXK77. Well, Google Plus isn't. It's got that weird, really long thing. Links will be in the description below for my Twitter, my Facebook, my Instagram, and my Google Plus. Like the video, comments are always welcome. Share it with your friends. All I gotta say, keep on keeping on. Click the link in the description below to go to my non-spoiler edition.